Welcome to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, that's me. Hi, and welcome to Positive Talk. Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. You know, I got to tell you, I have such a good time doing this show. It is so much fun for me. I get to learn so much. I get to impart wisdom to other people and from other folks that I don't have to do it myself. And we've got one of those today. She's been on the show before, Andrea Wehlann. She is a yoga instructor. She is a Reiki master. She's been working on herself for a very, very long time. And my co-host today is Brichelle. She is learning about some of these things. And she really has a great interest in what Andrea does. And she's also an athlete. I'm talking about Brichelle. She's an athlete and a former figure skater. She's going back to that. And so she's actually flexible, so she can do yoga. But Andrew tells me that it's not quite the same, and it doesn't have to be flexible, bendy stuff. That you can do other sorts of yoga. And Andrea, thank you for being here. It's nice to have you back.
Thank you for having me, Kevin. Nice to meet you, Brichelle. Thank you.
Here we go. Of course, I'm excited.
And to tell everybody, in case they haven't listened to any of your previous shows, because you've done several with us, and we keep having you back because you're just so darn much fun.
Oh, that's nice to hear. Thank you.
So tell us about yourself a little bit so that people can get a sense.
So I founded Ganga Yoga in Beamsville, Ontario. Where is that? Between Toronto and Niagara Falls. In the past 3 years, I have opened up a Reiki school where I teach Reiki certification. Rei meaning universal, Ki being energy. And so I overall in everything I do like to bring more love and light into the world. And I think we have a long way to go before we love too much. So I'm going to keep at it. I have published 3 books in 3 years. I don't know how, but I did it. And so I'm here to tell you that you can do these things too. I published No Matter How Dark the Stain in the year 2021 during COVID, when I heard that domestic violence went up 60%. That broke my heart. And I put out a book of poetry for women called No Matter How Dark the Stain. Second year for Deeper Days, Finding Inner Calm Amidst Chaos was my second book, which became #1 bestseller in the category of yoga. Thank you, everybody, for that. And just recently, I published Stillness in the Storm, a conscious daily journal for yoga and spiritual healing, which quickly went to #1 on day 1 of its release on Amazon. It's been 1 year since that book has come out, and I'm just really grateful and happy to be here in this moment. So thank you.
So you're behind a year then?
Mm-hmm.
We're expecting book 4 now. If you did 3 in 3 years, this is year 4, so we expect another book. Where is it?
So there is 2 behind me. One is called Shining Light on Darkness, a journal invoking rising to full loving nature potential. It's a blank journal because I believe there's a story in all of us. And there's another journal behind me called Write Coffee, Love Yoga. Again, blank pages. So I wanted to publish some journals because all of my books are handwritten in inspiring little journals that I collected over the years. I must have about 95 on my shelf across from me right now. And I think that's where all books are written, from capturing the inside voice onto the page in a quick moment. And if there's an inspiring, cute little book in front of you and a cute pen, which I have millions here with big diamonds and the globe, yeah, you can write anything. And it's really important. It's really important. It creates space in the body for more love, kindness, and compassion, wealth, health, all these seeds within us to flourish and blossom.
You see, that's the difference between you and I, Andrea. I'm a minimalist, so that's it. That's all I got.
Oh,
And
I
I don't
couldn't
even
live like that.
Morning.
I don't even have a cap for it anymore. So this is all I got.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No.
But
I
so Rochelle, I know you've
all
been
those
doing
things.
some studying. Rochelle, I know you've been doing some studying on Andrew a little bit. Do you have any questions? Any thoughts?
Um, I want to know, Andrea, if you're willing to share, when did you have some sort of breakthrough that was within you that you realized that this was a path you wanted to follow and a journey that you wanted to be on to find any, like your highest version of yourself?
Excellent
Mm,
question.
yeah. I think that journey came from recognizing that I was at my lowest point. I started when I was growing up. I saw a look on people's that you know what I felt like I was suffering a lot, like I was in pain, like I was a bad seed, like I was born at the wrong time. I wasn't supposed to be here. And what happened with my life experience was that um, how I was acting when I was grew up, like kind of teenage years out of my house, going through school, was I was acting in a way that on the people's faces that I was interacting with, I saw the looks of anguish and unkindness and fear and like nothing nice in those faces. And that's a reflection of me, is how I took it. And later studying metaphysics, Marianne Williamson says the same thing, like relationships are mirrors and people are mirrors. And I really got that concept because I really didn't want anyone else to feel the suffering that I felt in my life. And I could see on people's faces, it started to be a pattern for me, that it was me causing that look on their faces. And then I worked really hard to try and switch that. So what is it in me that's causing that? So I studied anger management and started to take a turn from there.
Mhm.
It was recognizing patterns. There's another point that was really poignant for me, was recognizing that after I'd been sexually assaulted, raped, sexually assaulted, it's the same. There was a pattern. So just like I noticed on people's faces that there was hurt, anguish, they weren't excited to see me, and they were like, "Oh my God, here she is again," kind of thing,
Mhm.
right? And that was me. That like it really was me. It was my energy. It was what I was putting out there. I thought the world owed me something. I thought, I didn't know about treating people, empathy, like yeah, I wasn't nice. And so I noticed that pattern. And then when the sexual assaults and the kind of really negative things started to happen, or the things that really broke me, being dumped on the curb after being sexually assaulted, yeah, just being left for dead, like those, the pattern in that, the common denominator was me, and it made me want to shift my energy. So I started to study things, energy work, sign up for courses. I wrote letters to
Mhm.
silent retreats, and I said, please take me. So
Mhm.
there's something wrong with me. Like there is. Yeah, because what I was putting out was yielding those negative faces and those negative results. And so I just started to write letters to look for help and to fix all of that inside me.
Well,
And
I'd
I did.
have to say congratulations for recognizing that and becoming what you decided to be out of that. And I can totally say that that was me. I as well went through sexual abuse for quite a few years as a young child and
Mm,
all sorts of other things that have even been kind of recent. And then there was a sort of, I'd have to ask you, was there ever a sense in you that where you felt powerful in making people afraid or seeing that side? Because I know from my own stance, that was kind of all I felt like I had, was to protect myself in that sense, to make people afraid and be mean. And
mm,
obviously recognizing it was myself changed everything. And it was the hardest thing I ever had to do. But
mhm,
did you ever feel some sort of like power in that and not
mhm,
feel so helpless in having that?
No, for me, it was different because I was bullied. I was physically abused, mentally abused, emotionally abused, spiritually abused. And I felt that to the depths of my soul. And I
Right.
never wanted anyone else. Like, right now, I don't want any vibration that comes out of my mouth to yield such a result. And so,
Right.
yes, I could see what you're saying, and I could see how I could do that. And in that moment, I saw how they did that to me, and I caught it. And I didn't want that to happen. I didn't want to use it as a power, but I know that I could. And even still, with learning spiritual things or having yoga background, there's insights. This is an insight practice. There's insights you have. It develops into that mediumship. There's the lotus, there's a jewel in the center of all of us that's so shiny and beautiful. And even that power you could use against somebody, and I still won't
Right.
do it. Yeah.
Well, that's beautiful. Thank you for
And
sharing
that's
that. I know
ethics.
my
And that's
biggest realization with who I was, how everything you just said is exactly what I was saying about myself. When I noticed that look upon people, that it was like, oh, this girl again, or I would hear things that people said about me, oh, she's crazy, oh, she's
mm,
insane, be careful of her, or type of thing. And then I wondered, I do everything for them, and I try to be so nice, and I try to love them the most.
mhm,
Why are they seeing that in me? And when I
mhm,
recognized those things in myself, it all came down to one thing, and it was that I didn't love me. And when I
mhm,
started to love me, people started to see me different, treat me different, and
mhm,
I was able to actually communicate properly and express my emotions in a healthy way, and also set boundaries with people
mhm.
when I started to feel overwhelmed or like I wasn't in a good situation. So I love
Now,
that.
Rochelle, you had said to me at one point, and not to psychoanalyze, but I find it interesting how the human will respond to trauma in different
Mhm.
ways. In your case, you had mentioned to me that anger and being aloof and staying away from people was one of the ways that you manifested your response to that, where Andrea's response was completely different than that. But that
Mhm.
Mhm.
doesn't invalidate either response. It just validates who you are, that to get through that. And Andrea,
Mhm.
is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, I mean, it's so amazing. I mean, as soon as you said about the anger, it's like, yeah, I, rem- I remember I remember this. I remember the soccer player that put the Rohypnol in my drink, and I'm laughing at it now because as you said that, I just like had this vision of me like leaping off the dance floor at the bar, like trying to squash whatever happens to me from him. Right? I was like angry, and I think that you know what's so beautiful is that we have all of these seeds inside of us. We really do. Like that we can feel anger, compassion, that we can transform this alchemy and turn those situations into something else, and that we can
Mhm.
feel all of these feelings is so amazing. Like in Zen, they say there's 72 seeds inside of you. And then just hearing you say that, it's like, when you have strong experiences like experience like Rochelle and I have, like it's really an opportunity. I don't want to say it's a gift, but these are my gifts too. These aren't just my curses.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, and I just want to point out that your stories, while similar, are not alone. There are many, 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 many people that have gone through the same things, and how they respond to them is different. But there
Mhm,
comes a point in time when it's important for them to get out of it in a positive way rather
mhm,
than to suffer through it. And both of you, Rochelle is a little younger than you or I, so she's newer on the path of finding out all of the things, and she still gets epiphanies on a daily basis, or
Mhm.
about things, and is still learning, which is why I wanted to have her here with you, Andrea, because you are I see Rochelle in you 20 years from now?
Mm,
Well, thank you for that, Kevin.
no.
I know too, a big thing that I have to say is a lot of people that have been through what me and Andrea have, I think it is a lot of very unique because the number one thing that comes out of that is usually fear. And I tried to deny the fear. I don't know if maybe you did that, Andrea. It was like,
Mhm.
just feeling like you're invincible type of thing. But when I really took a look in the mirror and I started to meet people and go out of my comfort zone or even recognize people I had had in my life who had been through similar things, where that fear was really embedded. And then being able to love myself on top of recognizing the fear and trying to use that in a form that was better for me and healthy
Mhm.
was absolutely insane, because I'm raised around people like that. They just were trained to fear everything, right? But also not to take it to the extreme of you're invincible because anything could happen at any given moment. So
Mhm.
finding
Mhm.
that balance is insane. I'm pretty sure everybody who lives can relate to that.
Well, and taking it from a male perspective, it's like there were times in my life where I got punched in the face.
Mhm,
I didn't deserve to get punched in the face. I just got in a couple of fights and I got punched
Mhm.
in the face. But the one thing that I would not do is I would not show pain. I would not show
Mhm.
fear. I would show anger and I would show that I'm tough. And I would never, ever, until of course they left, then I cried like a baby. But but
mhm,
that's how we would respond to it, and you guys respond a
Mhm.
little bit differently, but this is great information for people to understand that
Mhm.
however you respond to it, there's a way out of it, and
mhm.
you can grow through it. Would that be, Andrea, am I do I need medication or is that okay?
You're right. Well,
you're, you're gonna help
we
me out right here, aren't you?
we communicate just by the silence. I love that about you, and this is a happy moment just to hear Brichelle. So just want to, I'm just feeling grateful for that, and to hear your
Thank
story,
you.
Brichelle. Um, Kevin, no, I think the main thing to point out there is that you're going to feel how you're going to feel when something happens, regardless. And the main thing is just feel that. So if
Mm,
someone will come to me like now, like Andrea now, if someone will come to me and say, I'm sad, I just want to like stop being sad. It's, but for what? Like, why? What else is there? Just be sad. Like, if you're sad, just be sad. It's going to transform itself, right? It never stays winter, it never stays rainy. There's always something else coming, something's always arising, and something's always passing away. So, but the thing that happens when we try to avoid the feelings, and the subconscious mind does this too, so that we don't feel such devastation, especially like there's a moment when you're being sexually assaulted that there's a two note there, and it's not a two note, it's your subconscious mind is like keeping you alive. I think you're not quite taking everything in, you're not quite asleep, and you're not quite awake because
mhm.
it's too much, right? And the thing is that feel the feelings, because if you try and Pollyanna or put a band-aid on top, like there's no such thing like
Comes
that,
back, and it keeps coming back.
like a hydra, like a monster, and then you have to slay a
Mhm,
much bigger dragon. And this is actually a good point for people listening, because Brichelle and I have probably had the hydra and tried to bat off all those faces by ourselves, and that's why we're sitting here. But there's so, every 3 seconds a woman is being raped. Let's be real. There's a lot of women that aren't going to know this, right? And it's like, just you just have to kind of
and
sit with
even
it.
for men, like, it is where in this day and age specifically, men are taught to not show emotion, and that means you're strong. Let me tell you, for any man listening, you are strong by feeling things. It takes a strong person to cry, man or woman, anything. To feel a feeling and allow that feeling to take its presence and work through it rather than it coming back and taking a lot longer,
Mhm.
you become, who you are in your strongest points and moments, and that's where growth happens. Weak
Mhm.
people choose to just try to throw it behind them in the dumpster,
Mhm.
and then that dumpster lights on fire. And then
Mhm.
when you ignore that fire, it sets you on fire. And
Yeah,
dealing with
your
that,
house. Yeah, your house
yeah,
goes, and then you're
yeah,
inside your house, and your cat's gone.
yeah, yeah. And once everything starts
Mhm.
burning, you come to a place to where how both you said it was when in your lowest time. And I hate that it has to get to that point sometimes, but that's when it really smacks you in the face. Because when everything is burnt down to the ground, who's still standing? You. But you're still on fire. And you have to learn how to rebuild all of that and
Mhm.
deflame yourself and then come back to where it all started, which was allowing yourself just to feel emotion. It doesn't mean you
Mhm.
necessarily have to show it. I know we need to take a break, Kevin. I'll be here to remind you. But I have a question about ego when we come back.
Okay, sweet. Perfect.
Very nicely done. We'll be right back. I'm out of a job, folks.
You're listening to Positive Talk Radio. We're going to take a short break to tell you audio and music creators about our commercial affiliate, Lyric Vids, specializing in creating amazing and engaging lyric videos. Are you looking to promote your videos in the most engaging way, but you don't have an animator or an editor? Whether you're an artist, musician, or business with a message to share, our lyric videos are designed to hook viewers and amplify your reach. Go to positivetalkradio.net/lyric vids. That's positivetalkradio.net/LYRICVIDS now to get started. Welcome back to Positive Talk Radio. We hope you enjoyed learning about our affiliate Lyric Vids, who specialize in creating captivating animated lyric videos. Now let's get back to the show.
Mhm.
He loves this song, I swear.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. We've got I think it's a great show here for you today because we can all learn something. Rochelle, you were saying something while the music was playing. What were you saying?
That you love that song and that you make people like that song. Because when I first heard it, my first few shows when I went live with Kevin, my face held it together, right? It's like a duck when they're floating across the water, but then their feet underneath are like going absolutely insane. And now because at first, like I would start to bop my head after Kevin would bop his head, and then someone else would bop their head, and then I pictured our listeners just like going down the road or in their house, kind of just vibe into it, and it just brings a different feeling. Anyway, off of that topic, Andrea, maybe not a question, but what is your perspective on ego then and now?
Ooh,
Mm. Oh, I
that's
love it.
really good.
I have to say something about what you were talking about earlier, just before the break. I have to say, it's for you and I, we had to smash down a lot of walls and put out that dumpster fire and the house fire and the inner fire and cultivate a lot of things. But really, if you look at nature, and if people can look at nature as like it is who we are. We're not taught this in school, but these stories and these conversations that we're having need to have a new world where women, girls, people are suffering less. It just look how a star is born.
Hmm.
Complete. How is a star born? It's just
They go through the worst of it.
it's
Well, and
birth.
it makes me think like when you see a fire out in the wilderness, right? Everything burned down, it's all ugly, nasty, everything is dead. But what grows after?
Where'd the phoenix
These
come from?
beautiful things. Yeah, exactly.
The rainbow
There's
after
hope
the
in the
storm.
fire.
We're both. Like we are actually both. And then, but imagine, Michelle, going through the things that we went through, but knowing this already, knowing that yes, this is going to happen, but I'm going to come out like a rainbow. Did people say that to you?
No, and if they did, it would have made me mad. I probably would have been the person to punch them in the face.
Okay, yeah, you were
You
angry.
shut
Okay,
up.
I
Don't
wasn't.
be so happy. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, So let's talk. So I just want to remind people, like we are nature, and we can handle hard things. Nature handles the weather. The trees handle all the weather, and so can we. And we need to know that, because we're a lot stronger than we think we are. So let's talk about the ego. Now I know the ego speaks first and loudest. Back then, I didn't know what the heck it was. I had no idea.
It's a demon.
I had no idea that there were two, I mean, I heard two voices, but I had no idea that it was like a whole thing and that people have studied it. Not until I studied metaphysics, which is after I crawled my sad self into the pews of a church to try and find something. But not until I studied metaphysics did I truly understand the ego speaks first and it's the loudest. Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah. So, and it's never true. It's always making a story about I, me. And, yeah, I try to never, to always, my connection is like underneath that. It's the strongest, to the point that a funny story about that, because on a trip with one of my yoga students, we were in Salem, and we were in one of the metaphysical stores, like where the witch hunting was and all that. And she was like, I don't know if I should get this clock. I don't know if I'd like to. And I just ignored that, right? And she's looking over and she's like, you're not going to answer me either. And I said, well, I will when your ego is quiet, right? Like all of it, like, the incessant check, like internally, when you look at an object, when you're aligned, you know if that's for you and for your house or not. You know that, right? So all of that chitter chatter, yeah, the intellect can cut through that like a knife.
Yeah, it really does. It's sharp.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I really love this conversation because I can just wind the two of you up and just let you go. There you go.
A lot of good things to be said, Kevin.
Yes, there are. Now, I want to make sure that we get Andrew's information out so that people can find Andrea L. Wehlann, and it's Ganga Moon, right?
Ganga Moon Yoga at squaresite.com. Ganga Moon Yoga on LinkedIn, Instagram, Reiki Skool, Skool. Yeah, and my last name's tricky. It's people want to spell it like a whale in the ocean, WH, and it's really not. It's WEHLANN, and then you should find me nice and easy on any of the social platforms. And I'm happy to help and answer questions for people. And my books are all on Amazon, Andrea L. Wehlann, or easier to remember, Deeper Days, No Matter How Dark the Stain, and Stillness in the Storm.
And the fourth one's coming.
There's 7. Yeah, they're on my living room floor, but they're written in journals. So, yeah, number 4 is upstairs. It's almost typed, but yeah.
Well, just keep on going, because I'm gonna make Rochelle write a book.
I need an assistant. Yeah.
Yes. Well, she's. I do have to tell you that Rochelle's acting as my assistant these days, and she's going to be doing more, because I'm Andrea. We are suddenly so busy. We've got so much going on that we are so eternally grateful. And it's for people like you who come on the show.
Kevin, you say suddenly, but you have been working for this, manifesting this, stepping towards this, embracing this, loving this, sharing this. This is your birthright. So I'm really happy to hear that for you.
It's all coming into fruition. You worked so hard. You deserve it all.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, you're gonna make me blush. And
that's the real reason we're here.
Exactly. And you know, I love the energy that you bring, Andrea, because you've been through a lot, and and I want to impress upon everybody that everybody goes through a lot, and it doesn't, they're not all the same circumstances the same way, but doggone it, I don't know. I have yet on this show, I've done 800 episodes, and I've done mostly women. I've interviewed mostly women. Let me probably put it that way. That's better. And, I see. I got her going,
Choice
and
of words, Kevin. Come on now.
But he caught it quickly. He caught it
Yes, he
quickly.
did. Yes, he did.
We need a reel of just those bloopers to go up.
yes, I've interviewed mostly women, and I have yet to have a woman or a girl or a grandmother or anyone say to me, I've had the perfect life. I haven't had anybody bother me, and I've had just wonderful, ray and daisies and sunshine every day of my life, and I've had nothing to compare to what people who've had. I haven't had anybody say that. Everybody's got their own issues, their own traumas that they have to work through, but isn't that really part of what life is all about?
What's the realness of it?
And
Can I add something?
no,
Of course.
Okay, he got me back there.
I'm scared. Okay, I'm scared now.
Some people will say I've lost my dog, but Andrea, you buried your son. It's like, yes, I did. But our experiences are different, but our feelings are the same. It's the same feelings. Loss is loss. Love is love. Hurt is hurt. Betrayal is betrayal. Yeah, there's levels, and you can say that. But you know what? Let's be real. Beyond the gender is exactly what Rochelle said. That's the only thing I'm saying about gender. But what Rochelle said about being a man and a woman, all the feelings are okay. We feel all of them. It's important to feel all of them. There are compasses. They're there for a reason. Emotions are it means motion. They're moving through. Yes, the degrees of things that happen to people are different, but the feelings are the same. We all have the same feelings. You cut us all, we're bleeding red blood.
Yeah.
That is so true. By the way, before the producers take an axe to me and make me bleed red blood, I need to take a break. And so we're talking with Rochelle, one of my favorite people on the planet, and Andrea L. Wehlann, who she is one of my favorite people on the planet. And Rochelle, I'm glad that you're here. Are you having a good time?
I love this. I do, Kevin. I think every day I talk to you, I tell you that. So thank you for bringing this opportunity into fruition. I will do this, and up until the day you can no longer do it, try to do it just as good as you for the memory of it. And when we come back from the break, I have something I'd really like to say.
Holy crap, I'm out of a job, I tell you.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends who love and support you, look closer. There are youth right in your community who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. And for 50 years, Covenant House has worked relentlessly to keep them safe and protected. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. They get clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So look closer at Covenant House. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Rochelle. And with Kevin McDonald and Rochelle and Andrea Wehlann. I'm enjoying this tremendously, and you guys are really cool people. Rochelle, there's something you wanted to say.
Yeah, I just wanted to share for anybody. One thing I used to do, Andrea, is I've met lots of people who have been through what we would say or think as worse than us, right? Do not compare what you have been through to anybody else. And I loved how you mentioned love is love, hurt is hurt, pain is pain, because I kind of did that. And then I was like, well, I don't have a reason to complain, and I can't, it doesn't matter as much as it does for that person. And by doing that, I was holding myself back from being able to heal from those things. So if you're going through something out there and you're hearing us speak and you're like, well, I've never been through sexual abuse, or I had good parents, or this or that. It doesn't mean that what you have gone through and what you feel from that is invalid or cannot be related to. That was huge for me to learn and understand in myself, because it made me be compassionate with myself, and also be able to tell people to give themselves compassion, and hey, like, you deserve just as much of a healing and an understanding within yourself and from anybody else. So please don't push that away in yourself. Go through those things and acknowledge that it's real and it's okay. You're not alone.
What do you think, Andrea?
Yeah. I mean, that just reminded me. I was sitting with my Zen Buddhist teacher. I took my precept vows with him, like my vows of ethics, how I would conduct myself, like, anyway. And he's like, so tell me how you feel. And I think I said, like, just a generic, like, fine. And he said, well, what's fine? And I'm like, good. Well, what's good? And I didn't know what, and he got up from his cushion, his zafu, and he walked over and gave me a whole 8x10 sheet with all of these feelings on it. And he's like, I think you should go home and like learn like what your feelings are. I'll tell you, I still have that sheet upstairs and I can't believe it. There was a lot of words on there. There was a lot of feelings, and we really need to look at that. Like, you could probably Google it, like how many feelings there are. There must be 100 on that page, and I had no idea of that. And Kevin's gonna look it up. And really, like, I mean, listen, you have to put things in perspective. I mean, if this was your last moment in time, how would you spend it? This is what we practice in yoga. That final shavasana is the practice of dying pose. Why? So you can wake up and appreciate your life just as it is now, not how you're thinking it should be, not how like that person looks. And no. It's
Yeah. Nothing's ever worth stressing about for that long. And don't get me wrong, I am like a professional stressor. And then I started to realize, I've been saying this to my mom recently, who taught me how to stress. How you're feeling right now, if you don't handle it and take care of it and recognize it, it's going to affect the rest of the day, the way this day goes. And if you knew that this was your last days, this was your last moment, would this matter to you? Type of thing. And I think we spend a lot of time focusing on these little things that just grab us and they take full control. And I'm completely guilty of it. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's not like I just have hard hours or hard days. I have hard weeks and months and years too. But is it really all worth it? Even just like the sadness of losing people and shutting yourself down. I'm like, if I'm going to spend my time in so much darkness, I'm not going to get to see the light of the other things that are literally standing right in front of me. And I bet we all can relate to that.
Here's the thing. Sound comes in and passes through awareness. Breath comes in and passes through the body. Experience come in. The only difference is, and thoughts come in, they can pass through the mind like clouds and pass through the body. The ego, when the thought comes or the emotion arises, the ego comes in to attach 25 stories to that, which keeps us hanging out there. But they are meant to pass through. And this is the yoga practice. A mind with no disturbances is yoga. And one of our Zen practices for the whole weekend was just, can you allow the thoughts to come in? They invoke emotion. and let them pass through the body. And you strengthen the muscles within you that can watch that process happen. Just your breath comes in. We don't attach stories to it because it's not a thought. It's in the body. The body holds it. These emotions, these things that come in, the only thing, it's just our stories that are holding it there. But it's the stories from our past, because the mind is just our memories. It's not the future. So you really, this is where yoga comes into play. It's really not about touching your toes. Buddhism is not a religion bowing down to Buddha. It's the art of how your mind functions, and that you can control it. Because once you can work with a thought of like something, and usually, you know what, we did one class, people might love this. You might love this. One class and one practice is just to watch them all come and put them in 3 baskets: past, present, or future. Every thought that comes in your mind is either from the past, well, that was from the present, that's Rochelle, or from the future, I'm hungry, right? Throw them in baskets. And then you notice that there's lots of space between you and your thoughts, that your ego is a little jokester and a trickster and a little liar. And once you learn that your mind is a liar, your whole life can be completely different.
And just so you know, there are 27 emotional categories, but within each of those categories are literally hundreds of subtexts of each of those emotions.
Who knew? My dad teacher, Michael Stone, he was fantastic.
Because that's brilliant. Simply brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Because why? But why? Why is it brilliant? Because once you know, and once you're aware of it, it has no effect. You have turned the light on, and where there's light, there can be no darkness. You're not happy and sad at the same time, ever. It's so amazing.
It is powerful.
But you see, Andrea, which is why it's important for you to write books and continue talking. And Rochelle's just getting into this now. But it's important for you to do this because a lot of people are too busy thinking about picking their kids up from school, going to the soccer game, what's going to be for dinner. I'm going to have to deal with that husband of mine tonight, and all of those things. And it repeats itself. And so a lot of people don't have time for that serious, why is life the way life is? They're just going from thing to thing and moment to moment, but they don't stop to reflect on any of it. And that's why you're important.
And that's why I think things in life happen. The NLP, like my meditation teacher, before I ever went to a yoga class, I did meditation just because I knew I was messed up. And my NLP teacher said, those are 2x4s in life. You can go through life like that. That's fine. But life's going to like hit you with a 2x4. That's where your, assault comes in. That's where you're, just going through your day and boom, your car gets hit. Like these moments are defining and your whole life can change. So it's like, but right now we have the internet, we have these conversations. Our consciousness has risen from being trapped, like we're being buried for 2 years for COVID, but really we're seeds. We all just really grew. So our consciousness is lifted and we can grasp these concepts so easy. And this is like what deeper days and mantra and affirmations and prayer and meditation, all of these things from the ancient sages are so within us that we can add meaning to our day. Just 1 minute of spiritual practice a day strengthens that muscle, and you can steer your ship in any direction that you want to go. And, hopefully you want to go in a direction that, your kids look up to you and go, wow, I want to be like her. Hopefully you do something that other people look at your stuff and be like, yeah, I can do that too. I mean, that's the whole idea. A light loses no light by lighting another light. Right?
Say that again.
Right.
A light loses no light by lighting up another light. Right? If you light one tea light in the studio, if I light one tea light, I just keep lighting them. They just shine. It gets brighter and brighter and brighter. This is us. It's no different. No separation. It's the greatest illusion. And that's the ego right there, Rochelle. The ego teaches us that we are separate and we are not. The sunbeams are not separate from the sun. We are not separate from the things that happen. Love is not far from our grasp. That's an illusion.
That's true.
How could it not be so?
I don't know what else to say because
Aw.
that is so true, and a lot of us are not willing to say or to admit that we are all one, and that we are all together, and so we have a lot of issues around that right now. I'm really hopeful that we're going to get through it, and then we'll live our lives together a little bit better.
It happens like this. It happens with these conversations. It happens by piecing the pieces of your life, whatever you got, your sprinkles. It happens by putting your stuff together, right? Because that's why I'm sitting here, and I know that's why you're here, Kevin, and now I know that's why Brichelle's here. And I know Teresa is listening. I saw her name come up on the screen, and she's a yoga student of mine that was here last night, and she puts her pieces together too. And this is what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and she says she had to head out, but she enjoyed listening to the conversation, which is awesome.
That's
And so, Andrea, well, first of all, I got Brichelle. What do you think? Andrea's pretty special, isn't she?
Incredibly. And it's really hard when you realize you have control of everything in your life and it is your fault type of thing in a certain aspect. When I learned that I had full control of everything, that like how I viewed things and what happened and why it was happening, it was upsetting a little bit. It made me kind of upset with myself, and there was a lot of forgiveness that came into that, but it's overwhelming. Did you feel that same sort of just like where do I even start type of thing when you realized you had full control?
I'm really lucky I had good teachers. I really had good teachers. I'm a seeker, and I knew I couldn't do these things myself, and that I wasn't born. I didn't think I was born with it, but I really had good teachers. And so I always had some tools in my toolbox.
That's
Do you know,
amazing.
Brichelle, you're looking at a young lady who has been, are we moving? Everybody moving?
Did it cut?
Yeah, we're here. We're back.
Did we
It cut
pause?
out for a minute.
Are we back?
We're back. We went off. But
Michelle looks like
yes, you're looking at somebody who did a 10-day silent meditation retreat. And when we come back, I'm going to ask you to explain what that is. As far as I know, it means that you don't say nothing to nobody for 10 whole days. I defy you, Brichelle, to get through dinner without saying something. We'll be right back.
They have your eyes. They have your ears. They have your smile. Now all they need is a little more of your time. Make a difference in your child's life, because anyone can be a father. It takes time to be a dad.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, you little one with the hand up over there.
I just like to what you were saying before, Brichelle, we are not afraid of the dark. We know it really, really well. And the darkness is such our friend, right? I'm sure you could go in the dark right now just as quick as I could, because we know it so well. It's the light that scares us the most. We're not afraid of the dark. Nobody is. It's the light that scares us. But imagine
possibility lays.
Imagine if you looked up in the sky and all the stars were all beside each other. You couldn't look.
I actually have experienced that while I'm here. I'm in Monte Vista, Colorado. For anybody who hasn't been here, come here. It is heaven on earth. The sunsets and the sunrises are magical. I got to experience being on a teeter-totter for my first time that was built before the 1900s. I looked at the Milky Way. I saw a shooting star, and I didn't know in my entire life how many stars are lying up there and the fact that it was possible. So that is amazing that you said that, Andrea.
More cells in your body than stars in the sky, girl. You keep going.
I love that. I love that. I'm writing that down.
I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you.
All right, you two, knock it off. Good Lord.
We're besties.
You're in on this love vibe, Kevin. You're the connector. And you know I love you. You know I love you too.
I know that as well, and it is just amazing to me that there are, you hear about such negativity, hate, division, and fear, and then to have a conversation like this with you guys, it really gives me hope for humanity. It really does, because it is it's an important discussion that we're having, and there are people that are going to go, I can do better. I can do better. And Andrea's been spent, how many years would you say that you've been studying? 20?
Oh gosh, more. Yeah, I'd
Since
say
you were
more.
5.
Has it been more? Oh my gosh. I've been channeling words since 7 years old, that I consciously remember writing the words going, what the hell is this word? Heck. Yeah, since 7. But yeah, so about 17 I started to check myself in and do a rerouting of everything. Yeah, so okay, say 20 years. Yep, sounds good.
Perfect. Perfect.
Perfect.
But you know what? I see us in this conversation just like those stars in the skies. Like it's like we found each other, and there's a lot of darkness around us, and that's what holds us. And it's our job to shine. And I think that's what we're doing here by sharing our hearts like this.
Yeah. And on that note, Andrea, so I've been looking into retreats. I'm going to be going to Bali, Indonesia to do some spiritual healing myself. I have just got my passport. I've never gone anywhere and done anything like that myself. So I'm the kind of person that's like, go big or go home, even if I spaz out in the beginning. So I'd love to hear about your retreat. And then I have a question for you. I know we're running out of time. These hours go so fast. So
Oh, we got a
I'd
little
love to
time.
hear about that.
Okay. Uncanny. I just hosted my first yoga retreat, like the whole weekend, like yoga, and it was me with the students. And oh my gosh, I just got home and I'm so amazed. By the second day, Rochelle, like their faces were so, it was like layers of the onion gone. It was like I read about the lotus flower and all the petals, and in the middle is you, but I really saw it this time. It was like when I'm at my studio, I teach yoga and then everyone's gone. Okay, and then but I'm at in the retreat, there's nowhere to run to. It's like you're just there. And so I really I wanted to be present for the people, and it was magic. It's like teaching yoga but like on steroids. Like it's amazing. So yeah, I'm so excited for you. I wish I could come with you. And
Let's go.
It's time to be with yourself. But if you've already done so much self-work, you're just gonna love this.
She's
Yeah, I'm super
and
excited.
she's relatively new at doing this, so she's taken to it like a duck in the water, as they
This
say.
is what happens. Yeah, you start to unturn the stones of your life, and there's this whole world that opens up because you're doing that. This is like I've been teaching for how long? Now I'm hosting retreats. What? It's a path, right? And you follow
Right.
that.
Well,
And
and it's a whole new me. I'm more proud of myself than I ever have been, because sometimes I'm like, dude, you just caught yourself in the midst of chaos and decided to keep what was internal calm and realize that it does pass, and I don't have to absorb all of it or make that my reality. Because I'm when you're an empath, you just like everything around you just it becomes you. And now I catch myself and I see myself and I'm like, you're actually doing this. Like, look who you are. Look how you speak. Look how you carry yourself. Look at all the things that are surrounding you that you never thought were possible. All because I just decided one day to look in the mirror and take responsibility. And then now I'm like, oh, like it's still, like Kevin said, every day, I'm like, something's clicking in me and it's making sense.
and we
And
yeah.
with how much you've learned, Andrea, I'd have to say, like, what is a practice that you could share with all of our listeners and viewers that you learned in the beginning of this journey? Just like just something simple that you could do every day that will help you kind of find your path and begin this sort of journey. Because like for
Right.
me and you, we were already at the bottom, and we recognized that everything had to change. But some people don't really have that, and I never really had a practice. It was just all everything at once.
Mhm.
So what would be something that you could share that you learned?
Your going on retreat is going to give you tools to filter all of that empath stuff that you absorb, and it's going to be amazing for you. What you can do with
Thank you.
energy, you can't escape it, but you can transform it, and it's alchemy. And I love this. You asked what I did before to get here, and it's right. If you ask me today, I would say to have a daily practice, but write on the toilet paper, the notepad, anything that's around you, write something down. If you don't know what to write what you see. I see my coffee cup. Just the act of putting something on paper gets it out of your mind. It is gone from your rumination. That tape cannot repeat itself. Just write. Today is Monday. Today is Tuesday. It will build on that. Write something down.
Now, is there a particular toilet paper that you would recommend that's got a lot of
The
layers
Hudson
to it and
Sky.
stuff? Is Charmin? I don't know. Maybe they could be an advertiser on the show. That would.
You
By the
know-
way, my good Holly has joined us. Holly, are you still there? Are you
I'm
scared?
here.
Hi, Holly. We love you.
Hi, Holly.
Hello. Hi, hi.
And Rochelle says hi, and I know that you've had a great impact. I just wanted to share this with you because you may not know this, and I haven't put it out to the world, but you've had a great deal of positive impact on Rochelle, and I want to thank you for it. You two. There are times when I'm wishing that you wouldn't see eye to eye so much, but I'm glad that you do.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're talking
I
to
know
me?
you called me.
Yes.
He did, Holly. He called me a Holly Junior yesterday, and I felt empowered by it.
Aww.
Oh, that's awesome. Love it.
Actually, it wasn't a compliment. But,
I took it as one.
Insult.
Yeah.
Compliment, insult.
You
all
can't
in
be
one.
mean if you tried, Kevin. You can't be mean if you tried. It's like me.
I do have trouble with that from
Yeah.
time to time, but
I know the feeling.
Holly has just joined us, and I don't really know why, but it's great to have you here, Holly.
Oh, thanks. Now, are you doing a live show right now?
We are for the next 2.5 minutes.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I feel so honored to be part of this live show. So sorry to interrupt.
Not at all, because you are special in my world, and Rochelle's special, and Andrea's special, and we're gonna do, after we get done with this, we're gonna do a quick poem that she's gonna voice for me so that we can put it and get it together for her and all that kind of good stuff. So, and we do that for people, we have a production company, and we do things. We do stuff. So you need to call Holly at executive producer at kmmedia.pro, and she can help you.
Absolutely. Actually, yeah, that's actually why I called. I didn't know you were still live on the air, and I was just going to call to update you about all our current customers. So well-placed ad.
Oh, cool. We've got, do you know, just out of curiosity, Holly, do you know that in the last 14 days on Alignable, we've had 4,000 views?
Love it.
It's and it's all because of Andrea Wehlann right there. And Andrea, give us your information before we have to go.
Hi, I'm Andrea L. Wehlann, Wehlann. You can find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube has some free videos. All my books are on Amazon. I appreciate any support, any messages that come through. gangamoonyoga@gmail.com. And my website is gangamoonyoga.squaresite.ca, something like that. Gangamoon Yoga Square something. It'll be me.
There you go. And by the way, Holly, Rochelle's trying to put me out of a job, so she's actually
He's dramatic.
He's dramatic.
Would you? Oh, me? Dramatic? Oh, come on.
I like how you place the feeling onto that word, Rochelle. Perfect.
Okay, Michelle, take us out.
Well, thank you for joining us everybody, on Positive Talk Radio with the one and only Kevin McDonald and myself, along with our beautiful, wondrous guest that we have here today that we are thankful is still around and in our presence, Andrea Wehlann. Go and check out everything about her, and thank you for joining in. We love you all.
I'm out of a job, that's for sure. Thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Our purpose is to provide everyone with a positive, entertaining, and educational experience. I would love your feedback and comments about the show, including possible topics and great guest suggestions. Please email me at kevin@kmmedia.pro. And remember, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got. That's kevin@kmmedia.pro. And that's it. Thank you.